Hi guys, good morning. This is Dan. Welcome to my channel, Engelgeist. For those of you that are new, welcome. For those of you that are returning, welcome back. For those of you that are supporting me over on the Patreon page, I want to say thank you so very much. I have a new Patreon subscriber at the highest level. Her name is Laura. I want to say thank you to Laura for that. I really appreciate it. It's huge. If you guys want to support me over on the Patreon page, you can go over to patreon.com and hit Engelgeist 333. And over there, you get at the lowest subscription level, you get the daily forecast a day early. There's also other things like voting on deck polls and like what decks we use for the following month and in the daily forecast and all of that sort of stuff. Special readings and free charmings and all sorts of things like that. So you can check that out. If you want to support me in other ways, you can follow me at Engelgeist333 on Instagram, or please just share out my videos, like them, comment, and subscribe either to the business page on Facebook, follow that, or follow my YouTube channel and hit the notification bell, or you can follow both. That's appreciated. So this is the weekly, and the way that the Sundays really work, they're always sort of set up on a micro level. We look at all of these cards. We do a few extra cards on Sundays. At the micro level, it is sort of a look at what Sunday's going to look like, right? But at the macro level, if this makes any sense at all, it's also the underpinning energy of the whole week. So the way that I intend this is that as we look at the cards, we're going to look at 3 cards for the whole week. Each card represents the energy of, maybe a day or two during the weekly period that we're looking at, right? So keeping that in mind, some of you may experience all of these cards, some of you may only experience one of these cards this week. It really varies. The message is set up for what I'm requesting as I'm shuffling the cards is for the message for the highest and greatest good of those that will see this video at any point in time, both now and into the future. So it is a timeless message. It is set up for the dates of April 19th through the 25th, but it doesn't necessarily mean that this message is only valid during those times. Whoever sees it even later, later in the day or later in the month or even next year for that matter, it may have meaning and effect. So don't turn it off if you're looking at this and it's no longer those dates. There may still be a message in here for you. Beyond that, I think that's it. We'll just get started. I'm kind of I woke up this morning, I have to say, with a little bit of a headache. Not even a little bit, a really good headache. So I'm not sure if I need to drink some more water. I might have had too many salty things last night and dehydrated. My head hurts. So let's see here. We're doing April 19th through the 25th. Okay, so our first card, oh wow, this happened last week. It's that crown chakra. Oh my god, really? This happened last Sunday, guys. It's that crown chakra card. If we get 3 chakra cards this week, I'm gonna be like Shaka Khan, Wonderrock Shaka Khan. What is going on? Okay, so the crown chakra is your 7th chakra. It's at the top of your head. It is your highest knowing. It is not where I've been living all of this last week. I can tell you that. I've been more down in my emotional centers and in probably my 3rd chakra, my 4th chakra, my 2nd chakra, trying to get up there in my own world, like looking at this forecast and listening to it and going like, okay, I did get up into my 5th and communicated a little bit more of what I felt from my heart, which was very important. But this is none of that, and that's all my personal experience. What I am going to say about this is the 7th chakra, which is at the top of your head, and this is where your claircognizance resides. This is where your knowing is, your clear knowing. This is like when you get sort of those like small intuitive drops of, boom, I know this to be true. And you may not know why, right? But you just sort of know. So again, it's calling out for us to sort of pay attention to this area of our chakra system, access this area, try and get into this sort of clear knowing. And we're going to pull a card to further explain this card, because that's sort of the deal with this deck, is when the chakra cards show up, we do an extra card. So let me see. So, this is, let me just, what is going on? This is the same as last week. All right, I'm gonna stay with this, guys. This is the Ace of Cups, right? This is the element of the emotions. This is love begins. So we need to remember that we have an opportunity here. We have an opportunity to know that we're safe. We have an opportunity to know that whatever we're putting forth, we're pouring into sort of the river of our existence, or the river of our awareness, the river of our expectation, the river of our, experience. And what we are like sort of focused on, we are pouring that in, and it's like sort of going out into our world. We need to sort of be up in our higher mind. This is a space where we can be more focused on inspirational ideas of emotional love, being inspired by our emotions, trying to rise up higher into this chakra so that we can have better feeling emotions at this time. Those emotions are key right now for I believe, our well-being and our health. And I can tell you this, I'm not in that place. I have been struggling to get in that place. So I'm not so sure that these cards aren't coming back to remind me. And I don't know if some of you guys have been struggling to get in that place, even though this has been the message that's been carried out through all of last week. This is the beginning messages of this week too. So it's, to me, what these cards are saying is they're trying to drive home this point of, okay, maybe we didn't get it so right last week. Maybe we got caught up. Maybe we started off in a good way and we felt good, and then we got sort of slowed down. So we're going to try again. We're going to go back up to the seventh chakra. We're going to go back up to our higher self. We're going to go connect to that higher knowing, that sort of awareness, right, of everything being okay. And from there, we're going to pour forth the emotional feeling of that idea of everything being okay. And I know that sounds crazy because things are not okay right now, but I feel like that's what these cards are saying to me. So whatever's going on in your life, even if you're not talking about like pandemic bullshit, but you're talking about sort of just the trivial problems in your life, you need to sort of get up out of them and get to a place of almost like spiritual detachment in a way, without any sort of energetic pull or judgment. That's what this seventh chakra is. This is like higher awareness, where we're not necessarily emotionally charged by the things that we're dealing with. And when we're able to get up here, that's when this love begins. That's when this inspired sort of thought comes to us around our emotions and how we can feel. And when we start to pour that forth, it's a new way of relating to the world emotionally. It's a new way of connecting. It's a new way of adding our energy into the sort of stream of life, right, that is going on around us. Those of you that watch me, or that could be potentially finding this video, this is time. It's time for you guys to rise up into your higher selves, into your higher awareness. I don't want to say emotionally detached, but it feels like this love begins card to me feels like you're emotionally connecting in a new and inspired way, right? There's new information about how to feel emotionally. There's new, I don't want to say control, but there's almost, when I look at this water being poured out, it's sort of measured, like it sort of reminds me a little bit of the Temperance card, right? So in a way, to me, it feels like we're mindful of sort of what we offer, what vibration we offer, and we have to kind of work at it. It's not an easy task, right? But it being an ace, it feels like the payoff is can be huge. It can be very good. It can be very big, and we have to keep that in mind as we move forward. So let's see what the next card is for the midweek. Okay, so this is the Three of Pentacles. This is recognition and reward. So, to me, this is a very, Pentacles is always an earth energy, grounded energy. To me, I don't know. I feel like he feels really tired. And I just don't know, is that my energy or is that the card's energy? I feel like it's the card's energy. I feel like there's a lot of hard work being put in. I feel like maybe this Three of Pentacles to me feels a bit like we need to not give up by the midweek. We need to keep faith. The recognition and reward in this card to me makes me think that it will get recognized. The efforts will be recognized at some point. We may not feel like they have been, but they will be. We just have to work really hard. Not really hard, I shouldn't put that into your guys' space, but I just feel like there's some hard work, there's some prayer in this with his head bowed like that. To me, he is on a pedestal, like he has been put up um, in a place of honor. So if we have an opportunity to sort of honor ourselves or those around us, we should do so. But we might find ourselves to be very tired. I feel like there's a feeling of exasperation with this card. There's a feeling of possible like overwhelm, but somewhere during the midweek, somebody will acknowledge that within in us, or acknowledge the hard work that we've put in. Will acknowledge the sort of maybe the stress levels we've been carrying through this time, and how we've still been managing to get by. If that someone is our own selves doing it for ourselves, that's great. But this could be also somebody like an outside source. This could also be us being able to offer that same sort of recognition to someone else for a job well done on their behalf, right? And support them in what they've sort of, endured over the last few weeks. I think that this is having a big effect on people, much more so than we're willing to admit, because we're just all sort of hanging out, doing whatever we can to keep it going or keep ourselves moving forward. And this card to me feels a little bit tired or beleaguered, so we might be experiencing that, or the energy might slow in the midweek for us. I think that that's okay. This is the time where we want to take that slower energy and acknowledge where we've made achievements, where we've done good, where we've made strides sort of forward, right? Even if we're, a little bit tired, or, not at the finish line yet. We can't maybe see the finish line yet. I'm going to just read this card to you because I'm sort of interested, because to me this feels, I know this is not normally a negative card, and to me this sort of feels like we could find ourselves in the midweek in a little bit of a space of, I just feel like this sort of exasperation. And so I think the reason why it says reward and recognition is that it's telling me to remember to reward yourself, to remember to recognize yourself or those around you, and allow them to do the same for you, because this is not an easy journey, guys. All right. A reward for a job well done is what this card represents. It's a time of recognition for a completed project, hard work, skill, expertise, and craftsmanship. These abilities are now being honored, but don't forget to also pay homage to yourself. Pat yourself on the back. You deserve it. This card also comes forth to represent a family or a group of people coming together, all of whom are aiming and striving towards a common goal. That's sort of this love begins card. Like if we're all rising up into our seventh chakra, maybe we'll be connecting at a higher level and talking about more aspirational things, and acknowledging the work that we've been through. More possibilities are in the works, so be sure to lay a solid foundation from your past achievements, and this will help you be ready for the next opportunity. In addition, this card is a reminder to take care of your physical body. That's the exasperation that I'm feeling in him. Thank you. I knew like he looked tired to me. After all, it's what carries your soul around in this material world. So this is definitely an acknowledgement by the midweek, either coming from outside of ourselves or from within ourselves, to ourselves or to those around us, that we need to acknowledge the hard work we've been through. We need to understand that we are making strides, and we need to honor that. Allow the energy to slow, and if we need to rest, allow yourself that rest. I definitely feel like he needs that. I also feel like there's prayer with this card too. I feel like he's definitely praying. I love that he's bathed in this light. So keep that about you. Even his head tilted down not only signifies prayer to me, but it also sees like we're not necessarily seeing the end of this cycle yet. And that might be a little bit tiring too for some of us. Try not to let that weigh down on you. This feels to me a bit heavier than what these first two cards are in the early part of the week. So we might experience that we're feeling a little bit lighter, or a little bit more positive in the early part of the week, or able to stay positive. These two cards, if we really build upon them, right? If we just try and channel this energy through this heavier time, it's going to help to assist us in that acknowledgement and in that sort of achievement, like acknowledging those achievements and the work that we have done. Okay? I hope that makes sense to you guys. Now, here's the next card. Oh, wow. Okay, this is going to be just like last week, I think. So this is the sacral chakra. This is the second chakra. This is where the emotions are. This is the chakra that I need to work on. This is the chakra where I like to visit. And so let's shuffle again and see what comes out. This is funny because last week in this spot we had the throat chakra. So this is about our emotions, guys. This is about, maybe after taking this period in the midweek, right, to sort of slow down and take care of the body, then towards the end of the week, we may want to go down into the lower chakra, the sacral, and kind of feel our feelings, what's going on in there, what's working for us, what's not, where are we at emotionally. That's also part of taking care of the body, right, the physical body. It's also sort of, acknowledging how we feel what's the word? It's sort of like a form of self-care. We don't want to get, I do want to say this because my tendency, personally, I'm just going to share this as a Pisces, my tendency and as an empath, I get sucked into my emotions and I get lost in them. And I have to not do that. And so the more and more that I've found myself in that place, I actually stop and I try and take myself out of it. I try and rise back up to like this seventh chakra space or to a heart-centered space. Sometimes the heart can also be a very emotional space, but you want to be mindful not to get too deep into your emotions that they overwhelm you, right? But I do think that with this Love Begins card here, this new emotional set point that we have the opportunity to create at the beginning of the week will allow us to move through this and go down into the sacral chakra and do some work here, like meditate on this chakra, give it some love, give it some healing, give it some sort of acknowledgement and recognition like this card is asking, right? Because when we do that, we're honoring our emotions and our emotional body, and we are like checking in with ourselves. And I think from doing that, I believe that the emotional body sort of connects all of the other bodies as far as the physical, spiritual, and mental. I think that the emotions are sort of what traverse all three and sort of interconnect and send signals back and forth between the three, is my perception of things. I don't know if I'm accurate or true about that. That's just how I perceive it when I'm in meditation. So the emotional body is a sort of important expression of oneself that we need to sort of be aware of and mindful of and care for in a way that's loving and kind, right? So keeping that in mind, let's look at what card goes with. Oh, Jesus. This is Bizarro. So we had this is just like last week's forecast. Okay, so we have the throat chakra, so I need to shuffle again. The throat chakra is your fifth chakra. Now what this is going to tell me is, we need to communicate some of these emotions. Some of these things that are within our second chakra, we need to sort of bring them up to the fifth and maybe release them through the fifth, is sort of the message that I'm getting. We need to communicate them either to ourselves or to maybe another person. That's part of the activity that we have here in this recognition and reward work, is we're going to start to connect to others and acknowledge them or allow them to acknowledge us. Then later in the week, we're going to continue with this work by sort of going through our second chakra, going through our emotional body, seeing where we're at emotionally, asking ourselves, is that really the truth of our situation? Do we have things we can be grateful for? Do we have things, is that an old emotion? Is that an emotion that's from a past experience that doesn't necessarily serve us anymore? We're going to get the opportunity to look at those things, hopefully not be overwhelmed by them, and then communicate them outward or find that communication within our fifth to be able to communicate from a place that's more authentic, that's not necessarily based in, say, the past, not necessarily based in fear, not necessarily based in worry or anger or frustration. And trust me, it's not always easy, guys. I slip into those sort of emotions a lot. And so I am going to say that to me, all of these cards feel like an absolute emotional reset for us this week. We have an opportunity to do this work, to connect with ourselves in a way that is deeper than we've been able to in the past, if that makes sense. And from this connection, I think that we're going to be able to release and let go of some things that may be weighing us down in this Three of Pentacles that we're going to be feeling by the midweek, okay? I'm going to look and see what this card is attached to these two chakra cards. It's bizarre that this is the exact same layout. It's just some of the chakras have changed. This is the week that we need to be meditating and looking at these specific chakras, going into them. Wow. Triumphant success. This is the Ace of Swords. This deals with the intellect. Now, we have this ace up here at the beginning of the week in the emotional realm. We have this in the intellectual or mind-body realm. We've seen this card, I want to say earlier this week, or I'm sorry, last week. But this is interesting to me because his hand is coming up out of the dirt. There's this light around this sword. Again, aces always bring like new thought, or, well, in this case it would be new thought or inspired thinking. This would be new emotions or inspired emotions, right? But to me, aces always bring this sort of new information, this like vitality, this inspiration, this opportunity that we didn't see otherwise, right? So if we do this work and we get into these emotions and we start to communicate them out and start to see them for what they maybe truly are and release them, I think we're also doing some sort of like it feels like a latch being unlocked on our intellectual mind that allows us to access new thought. Where we once were buried, or we receive ourselves as buried or underneath our situation, a victim to our situation, I think that if we do this sacral and throat work, we will actually open ourselves up to new thought, new ideas that will propel us forward in a way that's inspired, that's empowered, that is full of more opportunity than we saw, right? Now, I am going to say this. This hand coming up out of the dirt to me does speak to the fact that this is going to be a little bit of work at the week's end. I love that we also have the throat chakra here, and then we have the blue border of the intellect going on here, so they're very much in line. But what this is I feel like this is a space where we are going to be working with our emotional self throughout the early part of the week, and it's going to have an effect on our mental well-being by the end of the week. Does that make sense? And so in whatever capacity that is, so whatever's got you feeling emotionally, guys, remember this is a broad spectrum reading for many people. It could be your family members, it could be your job, it could be whatever it is. In the beginning of the week, we need to get up to that higher space. We need to detach and start to figure out new inspired ways of feeling around these sort of situations, new inspired ways of looking at how we are interacting with these situations emotionally. When we do that, we're going to, by the midweek, have ourselves in a space where we might feel tired and a little bit beleaguered, but the way we operate and the way that we connect with our material world is going to shift and change. In doing that, it's going to open us up to searching through our emotions a little bit deeper, communicating that search, and working these two chakras together to sort of create new thought in our space. That's going to help us to sort of dig ourselves out from under whatever's holding us down. And I have to say this, as I'm looking at this, I'm going to just be honest with you guys. My week this last week has been rough. It's been a bit of a drag. I've not been online. I've been wanting to hide out. I've really been feeling it, this heaviness this week. And so I've been kind of in hiding a little bit. I've been doing the dailies every day. But this week is it being similar. I'm going to say this. We have an opportunity here, and we need to take it. And I feel like in some ways, this is more my personal message for me. I don't know if anybody else can relate to this, but in some ways, the layout of these cards being very similar to last week says to me that maybe I didn't do the work. Like maybe I didn't really show up this last week. Maybe I took the easier route, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with taking the easier route. This card here even says at times to be kind to our physical body, and that's what I chose to do. I bathed a lot, and I napped a lot, and I slept a lot. And I did take myself out walking, which was something that I really enjoyed. But these cards are saying to me personally, and this is just for me personally, but some of you might be able to relate to this. It says to me, okay, we're going to try this again. We're going to try and do this again. We can do this. is the feeling that I get from these cards. So if you guys are feeling beleaguered or at a lack of hope or whatever, I think that there's an opportunity here to shift that and change that. So let's see what the vibrational energy deck is. Musical joy. All right. Now this is a new card to me. She looks kind of like she's got a little bit of an O face going on, but that's okay. Now, with musical joy, I like that she's sort of similar in color to this Ace of Swords here. What's this called? Triumphant Success, too. I love the name of that, right? Triumphant Success. So, to me, it looks like if this is the vibrational energy that is underpinning the entire week, we want to stay in this space of joy. We want to stay in sort of like connected to the music of life or the flow of the river that we see in this Love Begins card, right? We want to stay connected to that and allow that to be our guide through this week. Staying connected, to me, she feels connected to spirit. She feels like she's in meditation. All of these little stars around her, to me, feel like she's kind of meditating herself into a state of peace and joy, tranquility. We want to kind of keep that focus as we go through this week. I'm just going to read you this card just because I've not read the definition of it. We all have a favorite tune that just sings to us, filling us with energetic joy. It literally sings to us. You need to tap into this vibrational energy and hear the music in your head, heart, and soul. Put on that tune or create a new melody that will raise your vibration up in joy and fulfillment, so you delight in the pleasure of harmonious melodies. So doing that all week is going to help you, I think. Staying connected to that higher self, the seventh chakra, staying connected to the beauty that is within you, the joy that is within you, connecting to that sort of more deeper spiritual world, right? Whatever music, if that's through music, do that this week, right? For me it is. That's why I put those songs with all the cards in the video description, is because I want to connect you guys to some musical inspiration, because I feel like spirit reaches me through music all of the time. I think that spirit inspires music a lot of the time, and so through different artists and things like that. So keeping that in mind, let that sort of be your guide throughout this week, is keeping your vibration. I know towards the midweek it might feel a little low and heavy or slowed down, but that's okay. This is the other thing too I have to say about high vibration. If we were meant to be high vibration all the time, we wouldn't have the broad array of vibrations. We're supposed to experience what we're experiencing when we're experiencing it, guys. Try not to judge. That's the seventh chakra card at the beginning of the week. I feel like these chakra cards are chakras that we need to be working with throughout the entirety of the week, right? The themes of the week is like working with our chakras. We don't want to be judging ourselves. We don't want to be, if we're having moments where we're feeling lower or beleaguered, that's okay. Be kind to yourself as best you can, right? I gotta put last week's grounding stones back in the bag. If we get our last week's, I'm gonna. Alright, let's see. So it's okay to kind of go easy on yourself if you don't feel as though you are always on, but try your hardest, or try your best, I should say, not try your hardest, try your best to connect with these things this week, because this is an opportunity to find triumphant success and access some joy, which we can all use. Now, the stone that we have for the theme of this week is clarity. And that's definitely in this third and fifth chakra. There's clarity in the seventh chakra too. There's new ways of emotionally and mentally associating ourselves with our space by the end of this week. There's an opportunity here to acknowledge what we've been through and the hard work that we've put in. All of that brings about this clarity. The clarity should be the goal for you guys this week, okay? Keeping this goal of clarity. Start with your seventh chakra in your meditations and say, okay, I want to find, what brings me clarity? What are clear thinking thoughts around where my emotions are at? As we're doing this work this week, kind of keep that focus on clearing your own channel, your own perceptions, your own relationship to what's going on in your own personal world, and benefit, bettering that, okay, through this joy. All right, this is a long forecast. I'm sorry, it's all of these chakra cards, but thank you so much for tuning in, you guys. I hope this makes sense. Please leave me a like. or a comment and let me know. This is a huge opportunity for all of us, I think, and to gain more strength, more clarity, triumphant success, begin a new emotional sort of connection to our world and our universe that's based in a deeper, more solid kind of love. These are really beautiful cards, and it's no mistake that they came out in the same order with 3 chakra cards. It's definitely caught my attention. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please check out my Patreon page, follow me on Instagram, and like and subscribe here at YouTube and on the business page. Have a great day. I love you all. Bye-bye.